Gigs Ireland gets invited to many a place, but nothing like this. I'm here in Barcelona, and all thanks to one guy, and that's Peter. How are you, Peter?
I'm grand. As they say, you can take the Irishman out of Ireland, but you'll never take the Irish out of him. So no, I'm good.
How did you end up here?
Well, I moved here a year ago, really to be closer to the people that I wanted to work with. I wasn't happy. It's no secret. I wasn't happy in Ireland at all. I felt like I was banging my head against the wall, particularly after I left London, after so many years. And I wanted to find peace. I wanted to work in a place that was conducive and productive, and it was conducive towards being productive. And I wanted to write somewhere and get my head right, and I couldn't get that right in Ireland. I came here and I found my peace.
So you're working away on, I presume, your own album?
Yes, indeed. Part of the deal, I suppose, with the label, the distribution, is that I got to control my own label as such, and that was very, very important to me. So I'm working right now with here at AB Studios, actually, in Bendrail.
Beautiful setup, like.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a family run environment practically. I mean, we got a great guy here, Arturo Torres, just knows exactly what he's doing. My band are all Catalan. Jimmy Pignol, who also plays with Lax and Busto, David and Marty. They're all local guys, but they've played at the highest level. So, yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty lucky.
Do you feel you're musically mature at this point in your life?
I think I'm mature in a lot of ways. No, to be honest, I've always been geared towards this. I mean, even when I was involved in electro-pop and stuff that I did in the UK, I've always been coming in this direction. I've been waiting for the opportunity to do this type of thing for a long time, and to do this record in an environment like this is.
You have quite a background.
Yeah.
This isn't you just suddenly coming into music. You've been in music for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's no secret. Ireland is a place where you bang on a lot of doors, and it's always been a big problem for me. As such, I've no problem talking about the past. I'm not ashamed of it. One of the reasons I left Ireland is because it's a very negative place when you're trying to get somewhere. It's almost like I find you're almost castigated for wanting to. You want to improve yourself. You want to do something. Oh, how dare you? Don't get me wrong. I love where I'm from, but it's not. It's almost like become a musical cartel, where certain people have cornered a market, and it has nothing to do with music. And I've no problem with people becoming powerful. What I do have a problem with is those powerful people stopping other people from progressing.
So you've seen the disingenuous side.
I've seen the disgusting side of what Ireland has become. Ireland is a land of musicians. I mean, I can name people, like Darren Holden, Brian Dunphy, good people, Brian McFadden, good people who have had mixed experiences working with and swimming against such a strong current that is Irish music. At the moment we're working on a compilation album of Irish artists, and it's a who's who of people who have real talent and whose talent has been overlooked, and for some reason they haven't gotten the break that they deserve. I mean, to name but a few, the likes of Simon Casey, Red Empire, Nella Dwyer, we're going to have on the album. I'm going to sneak onto it myself.
Sneak onto
if I can.
Guest appearance.
If I can. JD Kelleher also is going to be on it. Rob Murphy, Chris Hayes. I'm trying not to forget anybody. We're going to have 13 or 14 really top. Frank McNamara's sons, actually. They're going to be on. I mean,
they're going to be I'm very big at some point.
And also some acts that I felt should have been bigger, like Rooftop Anthem. I mean, Luke is a very, very good friend of mine. I know he's doing the whole Swing Cats thing, but for me, he really was hitting something hard with Rooftop. Also, Alan Fitzsimons. These are people who, for some reason, have had a wealth of talent and should have been, in my opinion, should have been stars. Don't get me wrong, no disrespect to people who have done well, because it doesn't matter if you're in Boyzone or if you're Brian Kennedy. You have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and tour. You have to work hard.
Yeah.
But for my money, a lot of these people should, and if I've anything to do with it, should get their day in the sun, you know.
What's the name of the album?
Well, I'm toying with a few things, but you know, I was toying with the idea of Ireland Ireland Bare or Ireland Uncovered, because for me, there's two sides to Irish music. There's the side that certain people want you to see. They want to give you the idea that everything is friendly, and this is the talent that they expose to the world is the only talent that exists. But there are certain people who, in my opinion, have been suppressed and have been repressed and stopped from going forward by certain powers that be, and they are a many and a multitude. I mean, there are a lot. For example, my favourite Irish act, Mr. North. A lot of people, when I mention Mr. North, they say, "Who are you talking about?" Mr. North are as good as you two ever were, but for some bizarre reason have never really hit it. Colin Smith for me is probably the best front man ever to come out of Ireland, but he never came out of Ireland, if you follow my meaning. So I think there's an amount of injustice that's happened in my country. I'm not saying one person is to blame for all that. Circumstances, I mean, I wouldn't want to give a person too much credit. I mean, this ain't Harry Potter where there's dark forces at work, but you know, there have been a certain amount of elements that have stopped some good people from getting there. I'd love to. The idea of collaboration in Ireland died, you know, when the likes of Rory Gallagher and Phil Lynott died. These people,
they were the legends, like.
but these people all had an audience. They shared an audience.
Yes.
And this is what music is about. I mean, you look at rock music in the 50s and 60s. Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley, you know, Eddie Cochran, all these guys toured together.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
the Chitlin
yes,
Circuit.
yeah,
These
that's
people,
right.
they toured together, they worked together, they wrote songs together. For some reason, the dark forces that we've mentioned before, they don't want to share anything. And it's a problem. Because what we're getting is watered down crap coming out. You know, and don't get me wrong, there are some good people within some of these crap acts, but they're not being encouraged to express their talent or work together. I think that's perverse. I could use stronger language, and I feel like it, but I don't want to, because I don't want to be shut down. So for me, it's about trying, if you can do a little bit to try and reverse that trend, try and book that trend. It's very, very important. It's very important.
So the compilation album is that?
Yeah, for me, it might be I might be peeing against the wind. You know, you might meet resistance, but if you don't do your part, you're part of the problem and not the solution. You know.
You mentioned your production company.
Yeah,
What's
the record
the name
company,
of it?
Lonely Child. I called it Lonely Child because I was an only child, and I spent a lot of time being alone, and we called the label Lonely Child. It's very, very simple. You
Did
know.
that stick with you growing up?
Yeah, it was like anybody. You know, you want brothers and sisters. Actually, I have a half brother and half sister that I've never met, but that's a conversation for a different show.
Go back to the beginning. Where are you from? Tell us about Peter Smith.
I come from a place called Drimna, in Dublin, which is well documented. Every interview I've ever done, I talk about Drimna. I'm very proud of where I'm from. I come from nothing. We had nothing, but my grandmother was such a strong force of nature, really, that she made you believe that you had everything. So every Christmas, I just thought I was the richest kid on
Really?
earth. Yeah,
Was she your main push?
she's my hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. She's my hero. And another reason why I always compared people when I was growing up to her. I don't understand why everybody didn't have the same attitude as her. Share and share. Like, I grew up in a neighbourhood where, you know, I was a child of the 80s where people had nothing, and people who had a little bit more shared with people who had nothing. And it was we had street parties, for example.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
we didn't have 3 holidays a year. We shared everything. I played football on the streets. You know, I learned to sing, you know, thanks to my school teacher, Mr. Doran. Everybody at Our Lady of Mercy Secondary School in Drimna. That's the reason why I was introduced to music. Some great people came from there. But the idea, and it was all about working together. You know, there are some fabulous people working in Ireland now, the likes of, I don't know, you know, on soaps and stuff, who come from where I'm from, because they leverage each other. You know, nowadays, you know, I'm looking at everybody in there. Music is not meant to be a competition. It's supposed to be a collaboration.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be people pooling talents. It's become absolutely perverse. So I want to take it back to Drimna, to where I'm from, and try to apply the laws that I grew up with. You know, now I struggle to apply those in my personal life, but
are we going to touch on that?
but I apply them to my professional life to the best of my abilities. Yeah.
So leaving Drimna.
Yeah.
Where did you move to next? What was the next path out of Drimna
Well,
for you?
London really was even though I always swore I'd never lived there. I met a girl when I was 19. A girl called Arlene. Actually, I stayed with her for 5 or 6 years. I'm still very close to her father. I'm not really allowed to be friends with her anymore because she's married to a guy that I used to play football with. So
All right.
I don't think it, and he's not.
You have an understanding.
He's
have
not
you?
very attractive, so I think. I'm kidding. He's a nice fella, but no, it's everyone has moved on. I sacrificed a lot, but because of the things that I was into, I lost a lot, and she was one of the things I lost. So because I selfishly chose other things above her, and the best man won at the end, and he was the best man for her. So for me, music took me to London. I got involved in pop music and with a couple of top 10s in the UK. I got involved in TV shows and stuff like that. Everybody knows all about that stuff.
You don't want to talk about it?
Well, I'm talking about it. And I got to work with Duran Duran, got to work with some seriously heavyweight people, and I learned more about the ugly side of the music business and the beautiful side of it. And I think the one thing I took out of London was it seems to be the more important that somebody actually is, or the more established that they are, the nicer they are.
I think the whole likes of pop stars, which you mentioned before, The Voice, all those kind of competitions, which they are really competitive voice competitions. Do you think that's fueled the whole competition in music industry?
Yeah, absolutely. And like without any disrespect, at the end of the day, the public speak. When the public stop watching these things, well, then they become the wrong things. But my fear is longevity. Who is still around from any of these shows? There have been some amazing talents have come from these shows. Hardly any of them are still around, and that's a worry. That's a real worry.
It takes a lot more to be a musician than sing.
No, there are some people out there who just sing, who are worthy of respect as well. I mean, you go to the highest level of music if you want. A lot of people would say that all Robert Plant, who's one of my heroes, did was sing and write a few words. We put him in a room with Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones and John Bonham.
Collaborative
and
stuff.
you've got the greatest rock band of all time. You've got Led Zeppelin. So for me, I don't think we should castigate people just because they do something. To sing is important because it's the medium that I write all of these songs, but if I couldn't sing them, nobody would want to hear them. I'm lucky that I'm surrounded with a great band. Yeah, I write these songs on a guitar. I play a little bit, but I'm surrounded by genius. I'm surrounded by Arturo Torres, our producer, Jimmy Pignol, Marty and David, interpreters of song. So I'm lucky. No, I would never castigate somebody just for having one talent. It's a bit small-minded.
Would you share your music?
In what respect?
Would you get other people singing your songs?
100%. I'm writing at the moment for a few people. Obviously, I'm writing for JD Kelleher. I've written a song for him. Actually, I wrote it for somebody else. For someone, a person. It's a very personal sentiment, but I've given it to JD because he sings the hell out of it. JD's going to surprise a lot of people. He's come late to the game. I mean, this is a man in his 40s, but he's come very late to the game, but he's come strong to the game because he's a very experienced actor. As you know, he's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
But he's
passion too.
He is a brilliant interpreter of things, and music is just one of those things.
Did you know the song would work for him?
I had no idea. Until he went in there and showed me.
Really?
Yeah.
That was quite a gamble, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. Everything's a gamble, But JD is one of those people that is capable of surprising you, and he surprises me all the time. He's a great guy.
Oh, that's a lovely sentiment. So tell us a little bit about, so you went to England, you did your bit in England, then what happened? Where did Peter Spick go then?
I walked away from, I was in an electro-pop act, I walked away from it because the boys, we were made to work with a guy called Mike Peden, who had written a lot of songs for the likes of S Club 7. I just didn't want to do that. And we were introduced to a woman called Judy Tsuki, who I knew of. Judy was signed by Elton John in the 1970s to Rocket Records by Dick James and Elton John. And I was more interested in working with her. But when I heard the song, I was like, yeah, it sounds like something more for Atomic Kitten. I was prepared to do it, but the boys weren't. We were working with John McLaughlin, a genius, and we were working with Duran Duran, 5 geniuses at the time. And I didn't want to change that. But the powers that be at the record company wanted to change that, and I wasn't interested in that. I believe in loyalty in music, and if it ain't broken, don't fix it. I thought Max was being very selfish, very greedy, trying to change everything and trying to put a stamp on it, because this is what A&R people do. If they're not getting enough praise, they will try to do something so they can be the smartest man in the room. Again, another thing I hate. So I told the record company I'd walk away if they didn't change their mind on behalf of the boys, and I think nobody wants a show of power. So Max, within a few weeks, I was gone.
So it wasn't just a walkout.
No, it was very mutual. You know, Max was happy to get rid of me, because you know, at the end of the day, in an act like that, you don't want anybody with a brain. Heaven forbid. You know.
Was the music industry changing at the time? Because you know yourself, it's gone pretty much away from physical sales.
Yeah, I mean, it was the likes of iTunes was on the verge of emerging. People were talking about downloads from the internet already. They were talking about trying to, you know, people were hacking people and stuff like that. So it was beginning to change. Everyone knew that they were going to have to try and find a way to monetize music. We were doing festivals all the time, and we were being paid handsomely to do them.
Okay.
So we didn't really care, but we knew it was coming. And the great glory, but what I do here with Arturo and with the band, is that, you know, we will shoot, because we've got decent budgets. We'll shoot videos. We'll promote the live aspect of what I do everywhere, and that's how we'll monetize, because that's how music works. It's about life and moments,
isn't it?
Putting bums on seats, yeah.
So you left England.
I did.
Did you come back home?
I actually came home to get engaged. I went back to Ireland to get engaged. I got engaged to Arlene, and that didn't work out, because I was screwing around. I was being an arsehole. I treated her like absolute human garbage, but I paid the price. You know, I lost her ultimately, to a better man that we've mentioned. Not as handsome. No, I'm kidding.
You keep saying that.
I'm kidding. No, to a better man. And that was the price.
So the best man won.
He did, unfortunately, and now I get to sing about it for the rest of my life. So no, at the end of the day, you know, you reap what you sow in this life, and I've sown a lot of bad seeds. So professionally, I'm I'm a good guy to work with, but I'm the worst boyfriend in the world. So it's lucky I'm nobody's husband, you know, and that's just the way I look at it. So I come here to Arturo with the band, and you know, it's the best avenue, you know, this is my relationship. You know, this is what I do.
Most musicians say that, though. They put music.
Well, most of them are right.
Always first.
Look at some of my heroes. I look at people like Sinead O'Connor. You know, she's just herself, but all of her relationships have been garbage, been ridiculous. We are badly functioning human beings. Anybody that's artistic, you know, most of the time we meet people who just don't get what it is we're trying to do and what we're trying to say, you know, and that's fine, because they're normal, we're not. They're regular people, good people, and we're not, for the most part. We're emotionally dysfunctional, and I'm probably the most emotionally dysfunctional human being you're going to meet, but it works because I write good songs, and it helps.
So is that in some way your price to pay?
Yeah, of course, and I gladly pay it, because I like good songs, you know, and I'm happy when I come here. I play something acoustically to Arturo or to Jimmy, that most of the time it's people are going, yeah, we can play this, we can make it work, and the album is going to be good.
You're very excited about the album,
very. It's the first time that I've had a chance to really express what I've been doing and what I've been thinking for a long time, and that's priceless. You can't put a value on that. And it's an opportunity to. I mean, the guys here, their English is not so good.
That's what they keep telling me.
But they speak a language that's more important than that.
Yeah.
You know, they speak music better and more fluently than anywhere I've ever seen.
Out of all your career.
I worked in London. I worked with top musicians, but these guys, Arturo, you know, is as good as anybody I worked with as a producer in the UK, and the guys as musicians are as good as anything that I've played with. Anything.
You mentioned your drummer,
Jimmy Pignol. Yeah, he plays with a band called Lax and Busto here, and they're like Bon Jovi here. They don't sing in English, obviously, but I went to see them one night. I was actually invited to a place called Larboche. It was a mini stadium, and I expected maybe 400 or 500 people. There must have been a couple of thousand people there, all to see them. Jeez. All to see them.
Actually, we were coming over in the taxi and they were playing.
They're on the radio. Yeah, they're pretty popular. They've been going for 24 years. I want to say 24 years, maybe 24, 25 years. Arturo would know more than me, but they've been going for a long time. But they are consistent. They have a huge fan base, and the thing I like about this place, Tracy, is that people are humble. I mean, for example, the guy that's shooting this at the moment, Edgar, he shoots for Spanish TV. He's hugely talented, but you will meet him walking down the street as if he has nothing, and they'll all do things together. They'll sit in the same restaurants. They'll go to what they call castels here, which is a tradition, and everybody, doesn't matter what you do in life, they all do things together. They collaborate.
See,
and the Irish don't do that. If you achieve, and the English, if you achieve something in Ireland, you feel automatically that you have to separate yourself from the riffraff, and that's what's wrong with our country. The people think if they have a good paycheck or a good payday, that automatically they have to disassociate themselves with who they really are. These people here, they are who they are, and it's not for sale.
You love it here, don't you?
Yeah, and I will say, I will meet a poor, unfortunate victim of a wife, and I'll have a family here. Yeah, definitely.
This is your home. What has been your best moment of your whole life?
The birth of my daughter.
I knew you'd say that. That's definite.
Because I was always looking for the opportunity to call somebody after my grandmother, who was my hero.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's my hero. So Molly, and I was there. I watched her being born.
She's stunning. She's a beautiful kid.
Yeah, she's when you look at somebody every day that is, and unfortunately I don't get to see her every day, but when you look at somebody every day that is the embodiment of everything that's good about you, it kind of reminds you of the good person that you used to be. Because I used to be a good person.
You still are.
I'm capable of good things, but
you still are in yourself.
Maybe. I don't know.
It's very hard to be here and separated from the love of your life, your daughter.
Yeah, but myself and her mother, we weren't happy. I was making her ridiculously miserable, and to a certain extent, vice versa. We weren't happy. She hated everything I loved, and I hated everything she loved. And that's when you put two and two together, it means that you don't love each other. She's the best person in the world, really is. We just didn't work. I think we'll work better as friends. It just it's funny when you just, it takes a long time to accept these things, but you eventually have to accept them.
Musically,
yes.
What's your best moment?
Ooh, probably it's a toss-up between writing these songs, bringing them here. Maybe Love Will Tear Us Apart. After all the fixed stuff that I wrote, and after Top of the Pops and doing all those shows, because I did Love Will Tear Us Apart with nothing, everybody said I was crazy. And for it to have the impact, for the cause that it had the impact for, the marriage equality, that was pretty special. But musically, maybe, besides all the, I've sold a lot of records in the past in the UK, and in South Africa and stuff like that. But writing this album has been the ultimate, because these guys are thorough professionals. The band that plays with me now are thorough. They're professional in every sense of the word. Arturo was one of the top producers around. If the songs weren't good enough, they would say no, not working with not wasting my time.
Not working with Peter.
It's the way they are. They do it with a smile. Of course, they'd say, maybe we try this, maybe we try that, maybe we can look at it in another 6 weeks. These people have high standards. So for
I think you have too.
Of course. But the problem is when it's yours, your songs become like your children.
Yeah.
You think they're beautiful, but other people are going, God, these kids are ugly. I know they're beautiful to him, but they're ugly. Songs are like that. You get close and like, oh, it's a great song, and everyone is going, and you kind of, you lose your objectivity. So I'm glad that these guys are like, no, these are good songs. And I think musically bringing the songs here and listening to what Arturo does here after what we do in there, it's just special. And it's funny, we found a punk girl from País Vasco, from the Basque Country, a girl called Pirati. I found her in Barcelona. She's hot as hell, isn't she? She's hot. But found her in the Basque Country. I found her in a bar, and I just I looked at her, I knew she was a musician. I walked up and I spoke to her. We talked about musicians and music, and she sent me a demo. And it blew me away, and I thought, right, okay. I grew up, I loved Kurt Cobain, I loved Nirvana, I loved punk, everything like that. I grew up listening to all that kind of stuff. I got into the studio with our tour, and again, it was one of those moments where people are going, are you for real?
You really take gambles, don't you?
Yeah, so we went
but they pay off.
Well, we'll see. We did a version of Territorial Pissings, which is it was never a single for Nirvana. It was an album song, but I loved it. 3 chords and the truth. We went in, and I remember going in, and I did because I did the guide, and because it's a duet between me and Irati. I did the guide, and Arturo just looked up from the console and was like, do you want to do it again? Or are you happy? It was one take. Or are you happy with it? You know? And it was that moment when you kind of know, when you know you're on fire, it's working. What you're doing is working. Because, again, from being here, and from writing, and from being out of a negative environment, Ireland is such a musically enhanced and enriching country, but we have negative people at the top of the food chain. And it's a real problem. I'm trying not to use language. It's a real problem.
You're quite passionate about it. Like, I know you've stepped away. Like, you're here. You could easily just focus on yourself.
But I'm Irish. I'm Irish, and I speak to guys like Roddy Clear. I speak to Paddy Mack. I speak to Dave Moore. I speak to all the DJs who were my friends. I speak to you. Marissa, all of these guys all over the country, and they say the same thing. A lot of them, I know you're not, but a lot of them are old enough to remember when music was good. I mean, Roddy was friends, with all the greats. He knew Rory Gallagher, he knew Phil Lynott, he knew all these guys. He remembers, and he always says to me, you remind me of that time because of your attitude. Because my attitude is, let's share, let's work together. Like when I annoy, for example, I might ring Edgar, the guy that's filming this. Say, Edgar, thinking about doing this. Okay, I'll look at the diary, because the attitude here is, if we can do it, we'll do it together. But the Irish attitude, it's like a huge game of poker where everyone is holding their hand, and it's like, oh, what's he doing? What's she doing? It's like people are more worried about the success of others than their own, than getting successful. It's perverse. But here, they're so fresh. Everyone just wants to work together. It's beautiful. And it's lost in Ireland. It used to be like that.
I think I need to move here.
I think everybody needs to be here for a while to see the way, because I think this reminds me of what Ireland would have been like maybe 25, 30 years
Probably
ago.
Is.
It reminds me of what people said it was. Rory Gallagher would be in studio talking to Phil Lynott. They'd be talking about ideas, might be sitting down banging through a few chords, talking about what guitarists are available out there. Will we do a record together? Let's do a record together. Let's just do it. It just doesn't happen in Ireland.
Is there an Irish band standing out somewhat for you at the moment?
There's a few. I have to mention Mr. North. I have to mention the Script. I'll tell you why. Because it's not the Script embody for me. They're friends of mine, for starters, Danny and Mark. I mean, I don't know. I know Glenn, the drummer, but I know his brother Carl better. But the Script embody for me what it's about. It doesn't matter where you're from. Danny and Mark were in a boy band, dancing around like NSYNC, called My Town, and they were one of the victims of the guru of Irish music, who I won't mention again, putting a stop to what they were doing, even though they had real genius. Mark is one of the best dancers you'll ever see, and a great singer, great producer, always was. And Danny is arguably the best vocalist. Him and Brian Kenny are the best 2 vocalists ever to come out of Ireland, full stop. Well, obviously people would talk about others, but for me they are. And they decided not to be stopped. They went to America and they got a big deal there from Universal. And then that didn't go well, ultimately. And then they decided to keep going. They were working with people like Teddy Riley, who saw their genius. And then they were signed, because I met them in London, they were signed by the Manic Street Preachers management. I was at a gig, actually. I was invited by James Dean Bradfield, the lead singer of the Manics, who was my next door neighbour in London. Invited me to a gig, and it just so happened that Danny and Mark were there. And they explained that the Script was just about to happen, played me a couple of demos on a Walkman, and my jaw just dropped. I knew Danny could sing, but I didn't know. See, there's so many acts out there who have talent, but not. The problem is great songs. Not everybody has them. The Script have great songs, and they're great writers, and they've great talent, and they've come from this background where a lot of people say, but you used to do this, you used to. It doesn't fucking matter what you used to do. It's about what you're doing. A great man said to me before, it was Roger Taylor, Duran Duran, said, it doesn't matter where you've come from, it only matters where you're going. And the Script, for me, embody that. Now, people in Ireland need to really wake up to what the truth is and stop worrying about the arseholes of the world, of the country, that are trying to monopolise and convince people that they choose who the talent is, and focus on what it is that's missing in good acts, great songs. I mean, for example, some of the artists that I've chosen for this album, Red Empire, for example, I've got great songs. Nella Dwyer, she's got a song called Revolution, which is just a great song. The only difference between these people and having massive success is leveraging an audience. They're all popular in their own domain in Ireland, like Rob Murphy is in Northern Ireland. But they need to introduce each other to each other's audience. These people need to tour together. They need to do what happened in the Chitlin circuit in America. They need to do what used to happen in Ireland. They need to expose each other to each other's audiences. Now, if we can try and achieve something like that, or if this can lead to it being achieved by an MCD or by an Aiken Promotions, and actually get these people on the road together, leverage their audiences, all of a sudden you've got some hit artists.
So the compilation album is literally going to go on tour.
Yeah, I hope if enough of their fans deem it worthy to download the record, people will have to take notice. These people deserve an audience. They're good people. They deserve an audience. And I'm sick of people, being... I mean, there were a few artists that I would have approached over the past few months and a couple of years, and their management, and they were so cagey. Some of them, and I won't mention any names, were like talking about licensing fees. Some of them were talking about, oh, well, look, we have our own thing. They were very threatened. I remember thinking, feck off. You just don't get it. You just don't get it. There are some people out there, and I wish them all the best in the world, but they don't get what music is about. Music is about sharing. This is about, for me, it's Woodstock embodies music. You look
Woodstock.
Look at a video of Woodstock and see all these people. They came together not by coincidence, but because they were used to gigging together, and because it was a vibe. It was a vibe. Ireland is a musical place without the vibe. The vibe is dead.
It's gone very cover orientated,
which is cool. I mean, that's just interpretation. I mean, in the 60s and 50s, people covered each other's music all the time. I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to cover on my album a Mr. North song, and because I'm a fan of Mr. North. Nirvana covered. I mean, there's a huge stigma in Ireland about covers. I don't know where this comes from. It's like the Irish are obsessed with when somebody comes out like Imelda May, for example. Oh, she's the Irish feckin' Adele, or she's the Irish... Bullshit. She's Imelda May. What is this bullshit about? Oh, it's the Irish version. Feck off.
Do you get compared to anyone?
I get compared to Phil Lynott. I get compared to Lenny Kravitz. Fine. I don't give a shit. Like, what I cared about, listen to the songs. Do you like the songs? Fine. Compare me to Richard Pryor if you want. If you find the music funny. The point is, if Irish people are so insecure about being Irish that they have to say, well, it's like this in America, it's like this in England. But you have to get past that horse crap and move on and accept the fact that Imelda May's Imelda May. She's from Dublin, and let her get on with it. All this rubbish of, oh, she's just like that. It's almost like accept her because she's like this. We have to stop that, and it's down to a few people, as I say, dominating and making excuses when they bring it abroad, saying, oh, well, you mightn't like it, but it's like this, so therefore it's good. No, it's good because it's good, and that's what I like about the script. They're the script. They're the script. Compare them to
business. They're everything.
But compare them to nothing. They're incomparable. They're incomparable. They are what they are. I think
they're doing great.
But you can't compare this.
They're in the top 10. My chart show.
Yeah.
They're consistently in it. Hosier's consistently in it.
I was going to mention
Codaline's consistently in it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in it for a reason, because people are downloading their music, they're going to their concerts. That's what we want. So if there is only a top 10, I'd love to see a top 40, but there isn't. A top 10.
There isn't the numbers. You can't justify the numbers in Ireland. We're a small country, but we have to shrug the small time mentality. For the size of our country, we punch above our weight. We do.
Yeah, and internationally, look at it.
The problem is we're punching against each other.
Yeah.
We're punching each other, and it's the wrong. The battle is inwards in Ireland, and it's been created by a poison source. There are several, but there's one that springs to mind, and everybody knows it. For me, the battle is outwards. Can we bring Irish music to an international stage? Because we need to bring it to America. It's funny, the amount of artists that have not had success in Ireland but go abroad, and all of a sudden, oh, it's okay to be good. You know, all of a sudden it's okay to be good.
Well, Coronas will be very well known in Canada.
Yeah, and find your market. You know, it's all about good songs. A good song is a good song is a good song.
So what do you want to see happen in the next 6 months, Peter?
Get this album finished. Well, obviously the next 6 weeks. Get it out there. See what countries bite. Heaven forbid Ireland should bite. I mean, after I castigate my own country, and people can choose to have the hump with me if they want. I'm entitled to my opinion.
Do you think people will
have the hump?
Yeah.
Some will, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't they?
Some closer to you than you.
Yeah, of course. People don't like some people don't like people with an opinion. You know, but you have to be, to thine own self be true in this life, and I have to be prepared to castigate myself as well. And believe me, I am up there to be castigated, because I can be an arsehole. I can be not a nice person at times. Yeah, I can. I have
paint a wonderful picture for yourself.
And I've treated people in my personal life like absolute garbage. It's true, and that's why I've lost a lot of them. But music is what I do. The great thing about music is it doesn't care about your personality. It only cares about what you give it. If I was being judged musically on how I've conducted my personal life, I wouldn't be able to sing a note for guilt. Let's be honest about it. I can't sit here and be honest about the people that I don't respect if I'm not prepared to be honest about myself. And you have to be honest about yourself in order to art, to write, and to be an exponent of your art. You have to be honest. And part of a healing process from dealing with the past is you have to be honest. You have to be honest with yourself first before you're ever honest about anybody else.
So you're going to wipe the slate clean and
absolutely
forgive yourself.
Well, that's what this is about.
And move forward.
I don't know about forgiveness. It's more atonement. Forgiveness for me is a fallacy. You know, you can't forgive yourself ever. It's up to other people. There are people in my life who will never forgive me, quite rightly so, for the things that I've done to them, for the promises that I've made to them and failed, and they're right. But I can atone and I can acknowledge, and that's all you can do in this life. You can try and justify the things that you've done with more bullshit. What's the point? I'm not going to do that. You can only move forward, because otherwise, if I was to sit down and feel guilty about everything I've done, I'd be sitting down a long time. No point. We all deserve to be happy in life. Music makes me happy. Being in the studio with Arturo and the boys makes me happy. Getting on tour. It's getting on tour. You asked to answer your question in a long-winded fashion. Next 6 months, I'd like by next summer, I want us to be out there on tour, because we have a very, very special chemistry between us. So I want to get out there and tour and get these songs out there, and then work on a second album and keep it going, because there's a demand out there for the way we do things, and you know. And
so potentially Ireland, UK, Spain,
I don't care where.
Europe.
I don't care where. I'll probably, after this interview, I'll be banned from Ireland for about a year.
Not at all. I'm sure it won't be that bad.
It's like when you run the police down in Ireland.
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah.
you get fired, you get sacked, Ireland is still a very, very much a clique.
Yeah.
You know, and if you have something to say, if you tell the truth in our country, as you know, you get castigated for it. Some people pay a heavy price, but if you're happy to pay that price in the name of
justice,
do it.
Are you going to give us a sample of your music?
Yeah, I'm going to go in and see if Arturo's ready. We'll have a quick look and
we'll have a chat with him.
Have a chat with Arturo.
In his broken English.
Arturo has better English than he thinks. He's just very shy.
I understand him. Like, he's not that bad.
He's gonna. So I'll take you.
Oh, lovely.
No problem.
Let's do it.